Hey, what's up? I hate videos that start that way, but I don't kind of know how to begin. I made videos previously, I think like 5 years ago, a long time ago. Before I moved out here, I think I made one, and that was in 2013, and then I made a second one after I moved out to Nevada to attend university. But anyway, I have been treated for bipolar disorder up until this year, which technically I am still being treated for it via medication, but I don't need the medication. Basically what happened is I was hospitalized again, I got out, and I couldn't really leave the house, so I found this like online, it's called Doctor on Demand. But basically they have psychiatrists and psychologists that you can like video chat with, and that worked way better for me because, you know, a lot of the reasons I wouldn't go to these appointments was because, you know, you have to leave the house and see people, and, you know, you just kind of dread that when you're depressed. So, do you need attention? But anyway, I finally saw these two doctors online, and the way their notes work is that they're saved like into a system where they can each read each other's like notes. And so I saw this psychologist first and then the psychiatrist, and what happened was I had never pursued DBT before, dialectical behavioral therapy, because I didn't know like kind of what I needed therapy wise. All the doctors were so quick to like give me medication to treat things, and therapy was never really like pushed for me. I just told them I didn't like what I had had previously, which is just talk therapy, and no one explained that there's like so many other types of therapy that you can try. And then they get kind of specific based on what problems you're having. So anyway, basically I met with this DBT psychologist. He got really deep into like my childhood and, you know, my relationships with my family. And he didn't say it initially. He just kind of took notes, and then, you know, session ended and he said, okay, this is what I want you to practice for like next time you come. Think of like situations, blah, 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 you know, that kind of stuff. And then I see the psychiatrist maybe like a week or two later, because I needed my medications. And I was like, oh, I just need like a refill. But she said that in reading his notes about my childhood and for 8 years, like none of the medications have really been effective for me. She said that based on my relationship with my parents, I most likely have maybe borderline personality disorder, but definitely my actions are probably not bipolar. They're probably just really unhealthy coping mechanisms I developed to, you know, deal with like the pain and stuff that I was dealing with in my relationship with my parents. My mom doesn't like to hear it. My parents don't like to talk about it. But my mom is kind of a textbook narcissist, unfortunately. You know, that's really difficult. I don't want to. That's why up until this point, I never brought up like my childhood to any therapist, because I just thought, you know, I've always been told by my parents that I had like the best childhood. It was like so normal. You know, like, why are you depressed? You had this great childhood. You know, nothing happened. You didn't get, you know, you didn't have sexual abuse like I had and stuff. And so, you know, it's always like, you know, it's something wrong in my head. Like, I had a perfect childhood, a perfect upbringing, a perfect family. Like, there's no reason, like, it's got to be a chemical imbalance. But basically I, you know, brought all that up, and if you have a mother that is a textbook narcissist, which I have books on this, which I will probably make more videos getting into this more because it's been so interesting. But anyway, I was recommended a book and I read through it, and I told myself I was just going to highlight anything, I was going to try to go in unbiased and just highlight anything that I felt was like something my mother did, or, a way that she acted, or, just that kind of stuff. Like anything that I thought was like even slightly similar, and I ended up highlighting, like entire pages of stuff. And when I brought this up to my most recent therapist, which I'm seeing one in person now, because they came highly recommended and I was able to get medical insurance that covered that, but not the online doctors. So basically they told me that yes, my mom probably is a textbook narcissist. When a mother is a narcissist, there are two types. Usually there's like two children. And when there's two children, one of them is like the golden child because they think kind of in a similar way to the mother. And the other one is like, I can't remember the actual word for it, but it's like a scapegoat, basically. Like there's a lot of, like any shame they feel or, anything is projected onto me. And, I'm like the problem child, basically. So I'm trying to learn how to deal with that, and that's really difficult because, like I said, up until this point, I thought I had the perfect childhood. But basically, I was told that, when your mom's a narcissist and all these signs are happening, like your mom doesn't feel like that motherly, like love towards you. Which is difficult because it's like all of a sudden all this makes so much sense, and my mom has blamed me basically for my actions and the things that I've done to cope and deal with these things that have happened in my life. I was told that I was the problem, that I was causing these things for myself, and while I take complete responsibility for, the crappy things I've done. But I realize now that I just didn't know how to cope with stuff. I didn't know how to, if we got in a fight, I didn't know how to deal with the feelings I was having because I just felt like I was like such a problem, like it was me. And so anytime I would get, suicidal or have those thoughts, it became, I'm the problem. Which is something, when you have a parent like that, like I said, they project that onto you, that you are the problem. They kind of sabotage you just so, they have a reason to, pick at something and, feel, negative feelings, but have it towards a person and not towards themselves. But basically, I wanted to make a video as an update to my previous ones because a lot of people asked for it, one. And two, I thought it was really interesting that I was treated for something for 8 years that I'm not bipolar. That's why none of my medications worked long term. Obviously antidepressants and that sort of thing are going to help a little, which they did. But until basically the only treatment for borderline personality disorder or having a parent like that is DBT type therapy, where you learn how to cope with feelings, so you don't have those impulsive behaviors that can, they look like bipolar because there's a lot of like hypomanic similarities when it comes to that, but they're coping mechanisms because I don't know how to deal with life and stuff. And so it's really disappointing that for 8 years I struggled, in treatment, and not one doctor asked about my relationship with my parents or, what my mom was like or, that sort of thing. They never like delved into that, because if they had, I would have been told a long time ago that I didn't need to be on lithium and I didn't need to be on these awful strong medications that cause so many problems physically for me. I've been hospitalized twice. I've, lost jobs because I've been on and off sick because of medications. I feel physically not well a lot of the time. If I don't eat enough with my medications, I feel sick. If I forget a medication or I'm 2 hours late, I feel sick. Just all kinds of little stuff like that. And that's been really difficult for me. It's kind of inspired me in a way, though, because I want to help people. I really wish I could afford to go to school and become like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but one that takes into account that sort of stuff and isn't just out to, push medications or just get, get to the next client quickly and not delve into that stuff. So I've started kind of working on a website where, basically I'm not an expert, but I know now how to navigate and find doctors that are going to listen. I know now how to, not just blindly trust these doctors on medication or, hospitals or, diagnosis. Like, if you feel like you're not improving, start to question why. Why is none of these medications working? Is there a different type of treatment I could try? Do I need to talk to a doctor and just get like a second opinion? Do I need to find a specific type of therapy and see if that would work in place of medication? Which, honestly, looking back, it's really easy to get into that mentality where you just think that medications are just gonna like fix you. Because I didn't know very much going into it, and I feel like that's the case for a lot of people, is they think that medications are just gonna fix them, that it's some easy, if I take these 2 pills, I'm gonna feel better, and that's it. But I think a lot of times talking to a psychologist before you see a psychiatrist and really delving into, every little piece of your childhood and your actions and, making notes of all that stuff before you get into medication. Because take it from me, someone that's been on so many medications, like I can't even count them all. When I saw my last psychiatrist, we literally had lists, and I would go through the list and be like, take that one, didn't like it, took that one, didn't like it, that one made me sick, I've taken that one for 2 years, that sort of thing. And it's like, they're not fun. A lot of times you don't even feel the effects of like an antidepressant for weeks. Let alone any other type of medication. And in those weeks, you're adjusting to the medication, so you have side effects, and you're miserable, and you're trying to function, and that can make it worse. And so, like dialectical behavioral therapy, you're going through your thoughts and you're questioning them. And if you feel like you don't know how to deal with a situation, you can learn how to deal with a situation in a healthy way, as opposed to just having some impulsive like binge eating or overspending or doing kind of reckless things, which is what I do, which is why they thought it was hypomania and bipolar. And so yeah, I really want to help people know what they're getting into and find the right treatment, and not just jump into medication because you think it's going to be a fix. So I'm getting into software engineering, but I think on the side I want to start, I don't know if this is a dumb idea, but I'm pretty familiar with, at least in my area in California, so Nevada and California, I am pretty familiar with how to find doctors with your insurance, how to negotiate with doctors if they're out of network, how to figure out like which insurance is going to be best for you, how to find the cheapest pharmacy, how to read up about medications and interactions, and decide whether you want to do outpatient or inpatient therapy, what different types of therapy are, just so you can start looking for like psychologists that specialize in that. Because if you find that something isn't working, don't just put up with it and assume that it's you, because a lot of times it's not. and you just need to reevaluate what you're doing and find, you know, something that works better for you. But I have a lot of experience with that, having gone through it for 8 years and being misdiagnosed and stuff, so I want to help other people as much as I can without having a degree, you know, because obviously, you know, with costs I can't do that. But just give some like guidance as far as that goes, because, you know, when I was thrown into finding a doctor, I was just given a list of doctors and I had no idea how to find the right one. It was just like, is that a woman? Okay, I'll see that one. You know, does that have an appointment sooner? Okay, that one. You know, I'm looking at hospitals. I had no idea how to look at, you know, which hospital is going to be best and which programs are best, and, you know, how to work with your insurance and stuff. So I want to make a website to do that. If you have suggestions for me, please let me know. If you want to talk about, I mean, anywhere from bipolar, because I have had those impulsive symptoms. I get it. So I can relate to at least that aspect of it. Borderline personality disorder, I have a lot of elements of that they've seen in me, but I do have really subtle differences as far as like empathy and guilt and all this stuff. So, but then, I mean, I can also talk to you about, you know, what emotional abuse looks like, because I didn't realize that my childhood was filled with that. I didn't realize that, you know, things that my parents do even to this day were considered emotionally abusive just because of, you know, the way I was reacting to them. And I mean, if you think that you have a narcissistic parent, I have books I can recommend. Yeah, I just have a lot of like information that I have built up, and I want to like help so that no one has to go 8 years wondering why things aren't working for them. But yeah, basically, I don't know how to end this, but here's my update, because people were asking. Again, if you want to talk, please reach out. I will put my email below. If, you know, you want to talk, please email me. If you need help finding some resource, you know, I can help you. Obviously, I'm not an expert. You know, I'm not licensed, so I'm not, you know, I can't, you know, obviously do a whole lot, but, you know, I can help you figure out which doctors specialize in what, and, yeah, if you're in the US especially. So I'm not afraid. If you're afraid to call somewhere, you know, I can help you. I can help you figure out what to ask and what to say, because I've been through it so much. But anyway, I hope that you guys are well. Please let me know what you think, and maybe I will make more videos. If not, have a nice day.